These are video notes 1A for explicit and recursive functions. Let's start with a pattern. And for our pattern, we're going to start at 3. Then increase by 4 each time. So if we put that into a table, you can think of n as the term number, or the input, and then f of n is our function, or the output. So at 0, we started at 3, and then the first term will increase by 4, so we'll get 7. The second term will be 11, going up by 4 again. The third term will be 15, the fourth term 19, and the fifth term 23. So every time you are increasing by 4 in this pattern, and if you want to represent this pattern with an explicit function, your input is n, and then once you put it through the function, what you get out of it is f of n. And so for our function, what we're doing is, depending on whatever n is, that's how many times we're increasing by 4, and then we started with 3. So we can write it as 4 times however many terms we're going up, and then adding the 3 that we started with. So for example, if it's asking you what is f of 4, that means you're plugging in 4 into this function here. So you're multiplying 4, because that's how many times it increased by 4, plus 3 that we started with up there. And when you multiply this out, you get 16 plus 3. So we know that f of 4, or the fourth term in this pattern, is 19, which is what we got right here. When n is 4, f of n is 19. Your input is 4, your output is 19. Another way that you can represent this pattern is with a recursive function. So recursive function. And with the recursive function, your output, which is f of n, is based off of some previous term, and then whatever you're doing to that previous term to get to the term that you want. So in this case, we're always increasing by 4, so it's whatever the previous term is plus 4. And so we can say that your f of n is whatever your previous term is, and to write our previous term in function notation, we'll write f of n minus 1. And you're adding 4 to the previous term in this pattern. So an example, if you want to figure out what is f of 4, well, looking at this, it's whatever the previous term is. So f of 4 minus 1 plus 4. And that's f of 3, because 4 minus 1 is 3, and that's just going back one step. And then adding 4 to it, and f of 3 right here is 15. So it's 15 plus 4, or f of 4 is equal to 19. This is the same thing we got here, right? And that's right here. When n is 4, f of n is 19. The last thing that we have to do for recursive function is, once we've written it out like this, we also have to say what is the first term, so when n is equal to 1. So we would say, well, when f of 1 starts at 7. So this is how we would fully write out this pattern in a recursive function notation.